A man is chained to a Roman soldier. The chain is iron. It is cold. It clinks when he moves. He cannot leave. He cannot remove the chain himself. He cannot persuade the soldier to release him. The soldier has orders. The chain will remain until the empire decides otherwise. The man is Epictetus. The year is approximately 60 AD. He is a slave. He will write nothing. His words will be recorded by a student named Arrian, who will publish them under the title The Discourses. The opening lines of the manual Arrian compiled from those discourses are the most radical statements on human freedom ever written. It says, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us." That is the entire premise. Everything else is commentary. Epictetus does not begin with metaphysics. He does not begin with God or the soul or the purpose of human existence. He begins with an audit. What is actually under your control? Your body? No. It can be broken, diseased, enslaved, killed. The soldier with the chain has more control over your body than you do. Your reputation? No. Other people form opinions about you regardless of what you do. You cannot reach into their minds and adjust their judgments. Your property? No. It can be stolen, destroyed, taxed, confiscated. The emperor can take it with the stroke of his pen. Your family? No. They can be harmed, taken from you, turned against you. You love them, but you do not control them. Your past? No. It is fixed. You cannot revise it. Your future? No. It is uncertain. You cannot guarantee it. Epictetus looks at this list and says, "Very well, then these are not the things I will concern myself with. They are not up to me. So what remains? My opinions, my intentions, my desires, my aversions, my judgments about what is good and what is evil, what is valuable and what is worthless, what is to be pursued and what is to be avoided. These," Epictetus says, "are up to me. No soldier can chain my mind. No emperor can confiscate my judgments. No disease can infect my capacity to choose how I respond to it. My body may be enslaved, but my faculty of choice remains free." This is not optimism. It is not positive thinking. It is not a strategy for feeling better about your circumstances. It is a logical deduction. Epictetus calls this faculty prohairesis. And the word is difficult to translate. It means choice, intention, moral purpose, the will. But it is not the will in the modern sense. The capacity to select among options, it is something more specific. Prohairesis is the faculty that evaluates impressions. You are constantly receiving impressions from the outside world. A snake appears on the path. The impression is danger, flee. Someone insults you. The impression is injury, retaliate. You see a beautiful object. The impression is desire, acquire. These impressions are automatic. You do not choose to have them. They arise from your biology, your conditioning, your history. They are not up to you. What is up to you is whether you assent to the impression. The snake appears, you feel fear, but then you pause. Is this snake venomous? Is it threatening you, or merely crossing the path? Is flight the appropriate response, or would stillness be safer? You examine the impression, you test it against your knowledge, your values, your judgment, then you decide whether to accept it as a guide to action. This pause, the gap between impression and assent, is the location of human freedom. Epictetus says most people never pause. They receive an impression and they act on it immediately, as if the impression were a command rather than a report. They are not free, they are slaves to their impressions. The free person is the one who has trained themselves to examine every impression before accepting it. To ask, is this true? Is this good? Is this consistent with my nature as a rational being? This training is the entire work of philosophy. Now, we must understand what Epictetus is not saying. He is not saying that external things do not matter. He is not saying that you should be indifferent to suffering, injustice, or loss. He is not advocating passivity or resignation. He is making a distinction between two categories: what is within your power and what is outside your power. He is arguing that you should invest your energy only in the first category because the second category is unreliable. So if you invest your happiness in things outside your power, wealth, reputation, health, the affection of others, you will be perpetually anxious. These things can be lost at any moment. Your happiness will rise and fall with circumstances beyond your control. But if you invest your happiness in things within your power, your judgments, your character, your responses, you can be stable regardless of circumstances. The chain does not reach your mind. The soldier cannot confiscate your integrity. This is not indifference to the world, it is relocation of the battlefield. Consider the example Epictetus himself provides. His leg is twisted by his master. He does not cry out. He says, "You will break my leg." The master breaks it. He says, "I told you so." This is not stoic endurance for its own sake. It is a demonstration that the injury to his body, not to his self. That the injury is to his body, not to his self. So his body is broken. His faculty of choice remains intact. He has not been harmed because the only harm that can touch a person is the corruption of their own character. This sounds extreme. It is meant to sound extreme. Epictetus is drawing the boundary. He is drawing the boundary line as sharply as possible so that you can see where it falls. Your body is not you. Your reputation is not you. Your possessions are not you. Your social position is not you. You are the thing that chooses. Everything else is equipment. Useful equipment sometimes, equipment you have a responsibility to care for, but equipment, not self. Now we must ask the question that Epictetus himself asks. If the faculty of choice is the only thing that is truly yours, what is its proper function? Epictetus answers, to use impressions according to nature. But what does according to nature mean? It does not mean following your instincts. Your instincts are impressions. They must be examined. It does not mean following social conventions. Conventions are often mistaken. According to nature means according to reason. And reason, for Epictetus, is not a personal faculty. It is not something you invent for yourself. Reason is universal. It is the same structure that governs the cosmos, the same logos that Heraclitus described, the same rational principle that orders the seasons and the tides, also orders the proper use of the human mind. To live according to nature is to live according to reason. To live according to reason is to align your individual judgments with the universal structure of reality. This is why Epictetus can say with complete seriousness, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish. Wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly." Now, this is not fatalism. It is not passivity. It is the logical consequence of the audit. If you try to control what is not up to you, you will fail. If you try to align your will with what actually happens, you cannot fail. You are not controlling events. You are controlling your relationship to events, and that relationship is the only domain where your power is absolute. There is a fragment from Marcus Aurelius, written 50 years later, that captures this same insight. So Marcus was not a slave. He was the emperor of Rome. He had more power over external things than almost anyone in history. And yet, his private journals, written to himself, not for publication, contain this line: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, the slave and the emperor arrived at the same conclusion, not because they shared a culture or a religion or a philosophical school, because they shared the same structure. Both were minds inhabiting bodies. Both were rational beings navigating a world of impressions. Both discovered that the boundary of freedom runs not between the powerful and the powerless, but between the internal and the external. So the chain is real and the throne is real. Both are outside the boundary, both are indifferent. What matters is what you do with the space inside. Now, we must notice something that Epictetus never states explicitly, but builds into every page of his manual. He has described the human being as a rational animal. The rationality is not incidental. It is essential. It is what distinguishes you from the ox and the wolf. But this rationality is not self-generated. It is not something you create. It is something you participate in. The logos that governs the cosmos also governs your mind when your mind is functioning correctly. Your reason is not your own invention. It is a fragment of the universal reason. This means that the internal kingdom is not a private kingdom. It is not a realm of pure subjectivity where you can define good and evil according to your own preferences. The internal kingdom is governed by the same laws as the external cosmos. The difference is that in the internal kingdom, you have been appointed as the viceroy. You do not make the laws, you enforce them. Your task is not to decide what is true or false, good or evil, rational or irrational. Your task is to align your judgments with the truth that is already there. The truth is not created by your assent, it is discovered by your assent. This is why Epictetus insists that philosophy is not a theoretical discipline, it is a clinical discipline. You do not study logic to become better at arguing, you study logic to become better at distinguishing valid impressions from invalid ones. You do not study ethics to become better at debating morality. You study ethics to become better at living. Philosophy is not the construction of systems, it is the maintenance of the instrument. So, here's what you've learned. You've learned that the boundary between freedom and slavery is not between social classes. It is between what is up to you and what is not up to you. The slave can be free. The emperor can be enslaved. The distinction depends entirely on where you locate yourself. You have learned that the faculty of choice, prohairesis, is the only thing that is truly yours. Everything else is borrowed, leased, or subject to confiscation. Your body is on loan from the elements. Your reputation is on loan from public opinion. Your possessions are on loan from fortune, and your will is the only property you own outright. So you have learned that the proper function of the will is to align itself with reality, not to demand that reality conform to your desires, but to conform your desires to reality. And this is not resignation. It is the most active and difficult work a human being can undertake, and you have learned that the reason which governs your mind is not private. It is a participation in a universal reason. The logos that orders the stars also orders the syllogism. The same structure holds at every scale. You are not the source of this structure, you are the beneficiary of it. And if you are not the beneficiary, there must be a benefactor. And Epictetus does not name him. He stops at the threshold, as Heraclitus did. He describes the kingdom. He does not name the king. The chain is still there, the rain is still falling, the ceiling is still above you, but somewhere inside, in the space between impression and assent, a kingdom is waiting to be claimed. The question is not whether you have the power to claim it. The question is whether you will use it. Thank you.